House, Dugbe Ibadan. Alright, obviously we are live on Facebook and on YouTube, 32FM 949 Ibadan. Facebook and on YouTube, 32FM 949 Ibadan. So let's run through the papers I have here on the table. I have the Guardian newspaper, Premium Times, Daily Trust, The Nation newspaper. Of course, I'll look at Punch newspaper. Also, from The Nation newspaper, bandits tied me up without food for 48 hours. Niger Commissioner, IPOP sit at home or Aneze residents bemoan losses as fresh protest looms. Court orders interim forfeiture of 241 million naira diverted by SDG funds. We remain strong, determined in tackling insecurity. Buhari will remain strong, determined in tackling insecurity. Buhari, Wike, I have no personal problems with secondos. Let's see some more from The Nation newspaper. Buhari arrives from UK. Court orders interim forfeiture. I took that earlier. I am IBB's ideal presidential candidate for 2023. Donyo Kukwe. Buhari meets Tinubu in London. Okay, let's see one or two more from The Nation newspaper before we go to another one. Ajiboye died of COVID-19 complications, says Fresh FM. May God rest his soul. Away from The Nation newspaper, we go to Premium Times. Oshibajo orders want conversations on climate change in Nigeria reframed. Oshibajo orders want conversations on climate change in Nigeria reframed. Buhari returns to Nigeria after UK trip. How Information Ministry abandoned projects worth over 390 million naira. Senate. Here we have a list of Nigerians to watch out for in 2021-2022 EPL season. Doctor strike. Nigerian government insists on no work, no pay. Nigerian education reporters elect Premium Times journalist as chairman. Head of Buhari's transition committee, Ahmed Joda, is dead. Medical profession in Nigeria in greater danger. Ngege wants. We go to the Guardian newspaper. What is required to reform civil service by Oshibajo? What is required to reform civil service by Oshibajo? All workers give terms to back the regulation. Apprehension over return of toll gates on highways. Marwa commends German government over €2 million dog facility for NDLEA. Family seeks financial assistance for kid with tumor in the head. Farayola, Arek Beshola decries racketeering, delay in passport administration. Let's see some more from the Guardian newspaper. Anambra Giba, tributaries, tribulation of parties as campaign begins. APC denies suspending congresses. Alright, still from the Guardian newspaper. Focus on Africa as world junior athletes gather in Nairobi. Still from the sports side of the Guardian newspaper, NFF board supports Phoenix backing of biennial World Cup cycle. AFN hopeful as junior athletes depart for World Championship tomorrow. Timaya to feature Fino in news on new single EFL All Day. Let's see. Do we have more from the Guardian before we go on a commercial break? Let me see two more before we go on a commercial break. Reintegration of repentant terrorists still stirs fresh concerns. That's from the Guardian. One more, and then we'll go on a break. Is this looking like it? Okay, Roma consider Kelechi Iheanacho as Tammy Abraham alternative. We'll go on a short break. I will be back.
32 FM
94.9.
láti gòkè àgùnlà láyé èèyàn nílò ìtọ́sọ́nà ẹni tó mọ̀nà débi àṣeyọrí. FMH International HR àwọn ni gbajúgbajà akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ alárinà tó mọ ojúlẹ̀jà bá ti ń tọ́ni sọ́nà finimọ̀nà nípa bí gbogbo òǹwáṣẹ́ ṣe lè pàdé àwọn òǹgbanisíṣẹ́ pàápàá jùlọ láwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó wà lókè òkun.
FMH International HR alábàáṣepọ̀ gidi ni wọ́n jẹ́ pẹ̀lú àjọ oníwádìí ìjìnlẹ̀ àgbáyé tá a mọ̀ sí United Nations Volunteer Research Group láti jùmọ̀ tọpinpin wàhálà táwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn kojú nídìí ìgbìyànjú ajé lọ sílẹ̀ òkèèrè. ìyẹn ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ mọ́ international migration àti international labour activities.
ǹjẹ́ o tiẹ̀ mọ̀ pé o nílò ìmọ̀ tó jinlẹ̀ dáadáa nípa ìlànà à ń tẹ̀lé láwọn pápákọ̀ òfurufú tó fẹ́ gbà sọdá sílẹ̀ òkèèrè. lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ bá a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí United Nations Volunteer Research Group pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ FMH International HR ń ṣe research lórí ẹ̀dùn ọkàn àti ìpèníjà tẹ́ ẹ bá ní. questionnaires táwọn òṣìṣẹ́ FMH bá fún yín lágbègbè yín lẹ́ẹ̀ ṣàlàyé ìrírí yín sí.
fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ kàn sí wọn ní 3rd and 9th floor Cocoa House Dùgbẹ̀ Ìbàdàn.
telephone 0817 4444 627
àti 081 68 73 7222.
Calling on all streamers, gamers, and heavy data-based business machines. Glow is giving you a mega data plan that's truly out of this world. For 100,000 naira, you get a whopping 1 terabyte of data that carries you for a whole year. Wow, I love it. Yes, you heard right. 1 terabyte for 100,000 naira. So go ahead, chat, stream HD videos, post, upload, download, and enjoy mega data as much as you want. 247 365. Dial star 777 hash to subscribe today.
Glow Unlimited.
Ìpolówó yìí kò ní ṣe pẹ̀lú sísọ àwọn ìrèdí láti lọ sórílẹ̀-èdè Canada yálà láti lọ kàwé tàbí láti máa gbé níbẹ̀. Dípò bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò yànnàná bó ṣe lè débẹ̀ gan-an. Àwa ni ilé-iṣẹ́ A3 Immigration Incorporation. Ilé-iṣẹ́ tó gba òǹtẹ̀gbàṣẹ ìjọba orílẹ̀-èdè Canada láti gbani nímọ̀ràn àti láti ṣojú àwọn arìnrìn-àjò tó fẹ́ láti gba ìwé ìgbélú orílẹ̀-èdè Canada yálà tó ní láíláí tàbí tó nígbà díẹ̀. Láti rí àrígbámú, ó lè yẹ ìjẹ́ ojúlówó ilé-iṣẹ́ wa wò pẹ̀lú ICCRC nọ́mbà wa R707544. Ìjọba ilẹ̀ Canada lù wá lóǹtẹ̀ a sì lórúkọ lọ́dọ̀ ìjọba. Kò nira láti wọ orílẹ̀-èdè Canada rárá. Àwọn afẹ̀kọ́tọ́ná fúnni tí ò mọ ìlànà àtẹ̀lé ní jẹ́ onira. Ẹ máa pe àwọn nọ́mbà yìí fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé 091-366-01125 091-366-01125 tàbí +1587-434-4423 0817-600-1000 tàbí kó o lọ sí ìtàkùn àgbáyé wa nítọ̀nà a3immigration.com.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Beautiful Saturday morning to you. Good morning to you once again if you just joined the radio station. It's 32 FM 94.9, your favorite station. 94.9 is the frequency modulation. My name is OLUTAYO, OGUNADE, and of course we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. 32 FM 949 Ibadan. Abiodun Falaye, I see you. And also Ayobami Joseph, I see you. All right, we go on. And I take my first arrest. Uduma will join me in a bit for some analysis. Let's see this one from the Guardian newspaper. Reintegration of repentant terrorists stirs fresh concerns. Residents of Borno State have expressed fears over the surrender of over 1,000 Boko Haram terrorists to Nigerian troops and the kid glove treatments they were receiving from the government. Many, including traditional rulers and religious leaders who spoke to the Guardian, stated that their fears were based on the earlier de-radicalization of 630 repentant terrorists by the Nigerian army under its Safe Corridor program in Gombe State, adding that it would be difficult for them to reintegrate the repentant terrorists into their communities. It's a long story from The Guardian. Reintegration of repentant terrorists stirs fresh concerns. Still from The Guardian newspaper, what is required to reform civil service by Oshibajo? Vice President Yemi Oshibajo has declared that a reform of the nation's civil service is achievable with determination to do so. He made a comment at the presidential villa, Abuja, when he received a brief on the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021 to 2025 presented by the head of service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, and quoting now, to achieve that, we need to do something bold and big that will make a difference, he said. Specifically, the meeting was for briefing on the reform process in the Federal Civil Service, which started in 2017. What is required to reform civil service by Oshibajo? Austin Adomo joins me on the program. Good morning to you, Austin.
Yeah, good morning, Tayo.
Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's start from my first headline here. Reintegration of repentant terrorists stirs fresh concerns. We looked at this story yesterday, and of course it's here in The Guardian today. Just a quick mention on this particular headline.
Yes, I think the government must exercise caution. No matter how good the intentions are, over time this has proven to be counterproductive. We can go back to history. This has been done, I think, about 2 years ago. What did we get from it? Did we achieve the desired results? It is so unfortunate that some people are just in a rush with a form of urgency to rehabilitate those that have repented. We must also look at the cases, the sorry cases, and the deplorable state of our various IDP camps in the country. A lot of people have lost their life as a result of this battle against insurgency. And some people will just come to say they have repented and will now reintegrate them back into the society. Nobody is against rehabilitation of those who may have surrendered or those who may have been captured. But the truth of the matter is that we must exercise caution to prove their sincerity beyond reasonable doubt, so that at the end of the day, we don't have to deal with a more serious situation, a severe situation than what is already on ground. Because immediately the last rehabilitation took place, there was a spike and upsurge in cases of attack against the Nigerian state, especially that on Nigerian troops. So the government must exercise caution so that at the end of the day, this will not be counterproductive.
All right, so people are complaining, some say, particularly those in the IDP, that they're still struggling to cope with life, and yet you're offering amnesty, forgiveness, to these people. And it sounds somehow, but I'm sure you've dealt with that. And so we can move on. Let's go to Punch newspaper. Fuel price. Again, federal government rejects governor's 380 naira per litre proposal. The barely 3 months after the federal government turned down the recommendation by the Nigeria Governors Forum for an increase in the price of premium auto spirits, popularly called petrol, the federal government again on Friday reiterated its stance, insisting that no decision on the adjustment of petrol price would be reached until the ongoing negotiations with the organized labor were concluded. So let's get your reaction to this.
Yes. If you look at that particular news, of course, the government has reiterated, especially the federal government, times without number, that this particular point in time, subsidy removal is not going to be overnight. I think about last year, the government opened a conversation with the Nigerian Labour Congress to be able to accommodate the workers and the masses as far as full deregulation of the downstream petroleum sector is concerned. Of course, subsidy regime and subsidy payment is no longer sustainable because it's eating deep into the finances of the country. You find a situation now wherein all the NNPC will make for a month, larger percentage of that will go to fuel subsidy. That is not sustainable for us as a country. However, before a total or what they call full deregulation that will ensure that market forces determine the price of PMS, the government must put certain things in place. And that is the essence of the negotiation of the NSC. Of course, governors have served over time to be the greatest enemy of the people. Most of the time, we cast aspersion on the federal government. But some of these actions are prepared and triggered by various state governments across the country. They had a meeting at the Nigerian Governors Forum about 3 or 4 months ago. El-Rufai was the chairman of a particular committee to review the operation of the NNPC and the entire downstream oil sector. And what they came up with in that recommendation was that there should be full deregulation that would take the pump price to about between 380 and 410 naira. In this economy of today, how would the Nigerian masses cope? The federal government gave Nigerian workers 30,000 minimum wage. That 30,000, some states are still struggling to pay. Some
And
have not even started
state
the
governors even supposed to be closer to the people than even the federal government here.
Tayo, don't forget, in 2012, that was how these state governors came together under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum. They stampeded the former President Goodluck Jonathan to partially removing subsidy at that particular point in time. That was why there was mass protests across the country. Immediately, the people kicked against that. The state governors, they backed out of the plan. They left President Goodluck Jonathan at that time like a lone ranger, like a president.
They blackmailed him.
Yeah, they blackmailed him, like the president who deliberately want to be wicked to the citizen. At the time, Jonathan had to come out to say that, these state governors, you took this decision. You pushed me into this. So that is the capacity of our state governor. All they are after is more money to be shared. They are not after the welfare of the people. I have said times without number, subsidy will have to go. Because when subsidy is gone and its market forces determine, PMS, there will be competition. And when there is competition over time, the prices will crash.
Instead, if you insist that subsidy will have to go, I will also say Nigerians cannot buy per liter of petrol for 380 naira or more. All right, so who benefits from subsidy?
Tayo, the Nigerian you are talking about also include myself. We cannot, not Nigerians, we all of us cannot. The point I'm making is that in as much as subsidy were to go in the real economic term, the government must put measure in place. At least let there be local refining capacity. Let our refineries work. Because the reason why the price is on the increase is the idea of exporting crude oil and now importing refined products, and that will be determined by the exchange rate. But if we have the capacity to substantially refine in Nigeria, it means that landing costs ordinarily will be eliminated. Since it is refined in Nigeria, there will not be anything that is called landing costs again. It's the landing cost as a result of the global economy and the exchange rate that is putting us into the crisis.
Have we foreclosed the idea of modular refineries?
Modular refinery, of course, some are coming up. If not for COVID-19, the pandemic, the one in Edo State would have come up. We advised the federal government at that time, give licenses to people. I'm also aware that licenses are being given to a number of people, but some are still skeptical. Some have not been able to invest fully. You remember that when we want to attract investors into this sector, they want to get return on investment. No investor will come to a subsidized economy. They will tell you that it does not really pay them. That is why I advise, and we are still saying, that the government must put measures in place in terms of other social services that the people can benefit, so that eventually when you deregulate and abolish the subsidy regime or the subsidy payment, people will have something to fall back on. The purchasing power of the people have been weakened already, so buying fuel exorbitantly at between 380 and 410 is not economically possible.
So what is your advice?
That will even be politically suicidal for the government.
What is your advice to Labour, since Timi Peresiva said they won't take any decision until all the party concerns or the concerned parties all agree on going forward? What do you advise the Labour, particularly on the new proposed pricing now?
My advice to Labour is not to shift the goalposts. Is to be resolute in their demand, because the Nigerian Labour Congress has put some demand forward that for you to remove subsidy, you must be able to refine locally. So let your refinery work. The federal government is also making efforts to ensure that the refinery works. They are doing some rehabilitation and what have you. It will shock you that over a period of 20 years, we have spent over 20 trillion on turnaround maintenance of our refinery. And yet these refineries are not working. And globally, what does it take to build a world-class refinery? is between 8 billion US dollars and 50 billion US dollar. So that is the place we find ourselves in Nigeria. So we advise the Nigerian Labour Congress. Timi Principal has come out again to say that no, the federal government will not remove fuel subsidy. We will not go in line with the position of the governor because we have agreement. Negotiation is still ongoing with the Nigerian Labour Congress. So my advice for them is that they should not allow the body to be bought. They should not betray the Nigerian people by acceding to the demand of the governors to increase arbitrarily the price of PMS. That 380, between 380 and 410 that the governors are proposing, I can tell you authoritatively that a lot of Nigerians do not earn up to 380 per day. Some cannot even earn 200 naira per day. That is the truth of the matter, because there is poverty everywhere, there is hunger in the land. Even the 30,000 minimum wage hardly can buy a bag of rice. A bag of beans is around 45,000, which means that if you collect your own 1 month salary, you can't be able to afford a bag of rice. So this will further impoverish the people, and the federal government through the Minister of Petroleum has come out to say, no, we are not going to implement that yet. There's an ongoing conversation. There's a sustained agreement with the Nigerian Labour Congress. So let the status quo remain for now.
All right, dear listener, go drop your comments and questions on our YouTube and on Facebook, 32FM 949. If I can see some there, actually, we'll take in the course of the program. Let's go to premium times. Buhari returns to Nigeria after UK trip. President Buhari has returned to Abuja after joining world leaders in making a firm commitment to increase funding for the education sector at the recent Global Education Summit in London, United Kingdom. The Nigerian leader also used the opportunity of the trip to also spend a few days for his medical checkup. He spent 18 days and, of course, back before 21 days.
Yes, he's back into the country. He left the country for a summit that was supposed to be virtual at that time. Some African leaders were supposed to be there, but the list of leaders that were supposed to be there, Nigeria is not part of that. But perhaps because the president wants to also attend to his health, which he might not be wrong, he went to London. So today he's back into the Nigeria. A lot of vacuum, administrative and bureaucratic vacuum were created in his absence. One of it was the inability to appoint a substantive chief judge for the Abuja High Court. So now the president is back. He should look at some of these constitutional issues and look at them promptly. Then let's also reason for how long are we going to continue this overseas medical trip. Not too many Nigerians can afford this. Look at the current challenges we have now. In the papers today, we read that Nigerian Medical Association is also threatening to join in solidarity with National Association of Resident Doctors if the government fails to accede to their demand. So in as much as it is possible and it might not be wrong, if you can afford overseas medical treatment, let the government also look at health sector in Nigeria. Health sector in Nigeria is in a sorry state. In the last few days of this strike, from August 2nd or so, a lot of Nigerians have had to die needlessly, avoidable death. So let the government look at health sector critically with a view of revamping the whole system. Let us solve the crisis once and for all, so that we will not be going back and forth on this strike issue. Address the need, pay their salary, look at their demand. The ones that you cannot meet, let them be met in phases based on agreement. But the federal government must honor its word. This idea of flagrant disregard for your own agreement, I don't think it speaks well of the government. So the president has come back. He has a lot of issues to resolve. Let him resolve all these issues so that at least the nation can move forward.
All right, just maybe Nigerians would like to know, we read something in March this year that Nigeria loses over 576 billion naira yearly to medical tourism. The fractions we may not know here, but of course, there's so much we are losing. And of course, knowing full well that doctors are also on strike. And like we also discussed yesterday, leaving the country en masse to for greener pastures to other places around the globe. Away from that particular one, let's see this one here, still from the Guardian newspaper. What is required to reform civil service by Oshibajo? I took the story earlier, Austin.
Yes, the civil service, they have always been reformed, but up to now, we have not been able to sufficiently reform the civil service. There are a lot of issues. If you want to tackle corruption within the civil service, for example, how about the welfare too? So the government has a lot to do. Oshibajo also spoke, I think, about 2 days ago, that average Nigerian worker should have access to accommodation. I don't think it is out of place for us to say, let us start with, for a Nigerian worker, let us have accommodation, at least a minimum of 2 bedrooms for them. So all of this are a whole lot of reform. I think, in my view, that the civil service in Nigeria has had initially been designed to fail. That's the truth of the matter. Because if you look at what is going on in the civil service, it's a far cry to what should be the standard. So for me, apart from lip service, apart from audio recommendation, let the government dig deep and see some of the crises rocking the civil service and reform it holistically. Then those that are workers, what is the fate of a worker after retirement? Because if we talk about corruption, these are issues and occasions that fuel corruption. You see our pensioners who have spent 35 years of their active service for youth energetic life for the government. They want to queue on the street. They want to depend on their children for survival. They have to look beggarly, cry out, protest. Some of them sleep and die on the street before their entitlement in terms of pension can be paid. So when we do reform, we must also accommodate their future. So those that have retired, the government is not taking good care of them. And those that are in the service, they want to lay up treasure as much as possible for themselves in terms of kickback and corruption, so that they will not suffer when they retire. Some don't want to even retire at all. Last time the president approved the retirement age of teacher, I think to 65 years from 60. We applauded it. Of course, in as much as that move was good enough, we also look at the possibility of those who have graduated and have no job. If you continue to increase the retirement age, for example, how then do you admit new people into the structure? So these are a whole lot of issues that the government must look at. If we adequately take care of workers, for example, give them living wage, and at the end of the day, when they will retire sweet, they will retire good, and everybody want to retire. A lot of civil servants in Nigeria today, they don't want to retire. They falsify their age, they do all sorts of things, even when their health and their physical well-being does not support that, but they just want to be in the service at all costs. Why? Because they know that when they retire, they will be neglected. So the government should look at all of these issues and address them to give us a robust civil service, a civil service that will be people's-oriented, that will be result-oriented, and that will be result-driven.
All right, we have this comment here from Prince Sikirigiwa. Good morning. For how long will Professor Oshibajo continue to deceive himself by talking about restructuring the civil service and jettisoning total restructuring of the country? How do we get omelette without breaking egg? Prince Sikirigiwa, we got your message. Justin, let's look at this particular story here from Punch newspaper. Nigeria trails 157 countries in COVID-19 vaccination, behind Ghana, Togo, others.
Yes, if you look at the level of vaccination, the government is lagging behind so seriously. Of course, experts have said that for you to have herd immunity, about 70% of your population need to be vaccinated. So herd immunity are those things that can help you to build your immunity. They serve as antibodies to fight against diseases. But in the Nigerian context, according to Worldometer, for example, the Nigerian population is estimated to be within 206 million. Then if you put that side by side, the closest to it in the country that were rated was Brazil, that has a population of, I think, 214 million or thereabout. And about over 100 million have been vaccinated, have had access to the vaccine in Brazil, for example. And in Nigeria, we have been able to administer about 3 million, over 3 million doses. And when you look at people that have been fully vaccinated, when we talk about full vaccination, it means that you have taken the double doses. Nigeria has been able to do, I think, less than 2 million. I can't recall the figure, but less than 2 million people have been fully vaccinated in Nigeria. Based on our population, that is still a far cry. South Africa, for example, is just like 60 million, 59 point something million, estimated 60 million. They vaccinated over 28 million people. Ghana is 30 million in terms of population. They vaccinated over 5 million. So how come we are lagging behind? But in terms of emergency response to COVID-19, I think the World Health Organization has given Nigerian kudos because we are at the forefront of the response. But apart from the response, in terms of vaccination, one, we are not getting the vaccine. Government just rolled out funds to get the vaccine. The first tranche we got the other time, it was donated to us through the COVAX arrangement. If we are able to more vaccine, right, we also appeal to people too to make themselves available for vaccine. I could remember when the vaccine came into the country, even in Ibadan here, health workers find it very difficult. They appeal to people are shunning it. They don't even believe COVID-19 exists. Some people have come up with a theory. You know, I told you my personal experience, Tayo, of a woman that asked me to, she wants to help me check the place I took the vaccine. He said there is a metal, a magnetic, what have you there. So these are insinuations and unfounded theories that are scaring people away from the vaccination. Now that in the weeks ahead, with the level of receipt of the vaccine that we have gotten and the preparedness of the government to acquire as many vaccines as possible, as many doses as possible, let people also turn themselves in. All because right, we need to be vaccinated to develop herd immunity to be able to fight the disease.
Thank you,
and some other countries, Americans and the like, they are also donating to us because they know that when you don't share the vaccine, they will share the virus with you. Right. So we can do better. In terms of vaccination, we are not doing well at all, but I believe we can do better.
We can do better. Let's look at premium times before I let you go on the program. Students caned in school sues Ekiti government. The student's father and the police sergeant identified as Elijah allegedly mobilized armed policemen to the school to manhandle some teachers for scolding his daughter, who was said to have come to school with an indecent hairdo. What's the reaction today when you saw it?
Yes, I think it's quite bad. The idea of parents mobilizing to the school to assault teachers for caning the wards is not good enough. There are better ways of handling this. According to the story, the girl did a wrong hairstyle that is not in conformity with the standard of the school. They had to, some teachers too, had to be overbearing by ensuring that the girl is flogged mercilessly to the extent of blood coming out, sustaining a serious injury. That is uncalled for. There are ways of doing that. There are other punitive measures that can be put in place that will make the girl to serve severe punishment. In some schools in Ibadan, for example, if you make a wrong hairstyle, they will lose the hair on the assembly ground and you serve some other punishment. It is not good. The teachers in the first place should have gotten to a level where blood and severe injury will be inflicted on that particular student. And on the other side too, the parent of the girl ought not to have also mobilized to the school. There are appropriate measures by which you can complain and ensure that you get justice. All of this were not done because as it is now, two right cannot make a wrong. But all of this comment now is almost out of the way because litigation has commenced. The girl has sued the government for 15 million to press for charges against what was done to her. We also learned that the girl was also not allowed access to the school. So let's see, perhaps this could be an opportunity for our laws to be tested once again. But where there are no laws, there are no offense. In terms of discipline in the school, there are ways these are done, and we must also exercise caution so that at the end of the day, we will not have to regret. It's an unfortunate situation, but the case is in court. Let's see how it goes at the end of the day.
Thank you, Austin Edumo, for sharing your morning.
Thank you, Tayo.
Have a great weekend. Bye for now.
And you too. Yeah.
FM
94.9.
Sakpa na batino. He hold me so tey and no fit comot for house. To add on top am, na so my mama send me message talk say,
Ojuko, where the credit where you promise me now?
Sure, that one no be another Sakpa on top Sakpa. But thank you to Globe Borrow for others, so I just borrow credit for her from my network. Enter her own number sharp. Later when I recharge, they go collect the money from my own phone.
With Globe Borrow for Others, you can now borrow data and airtime for your family and friends, then pay back their credit on your next recharge. Dial *777# to get started.
Globe Unlimited.
Egbògi kan ti délẹ̀ yìí, egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ ṣe ni, ó dára fẹ̀jẹ̀ gidi gan. Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o. Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o.
Ojú rẹ̀ ṣàǹjọ̀lọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ kí làṣírí ẹ wà rí.
Veneto cleanser ni.
Já mi sí ọ̀rẹ́.
Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí bádọ̀tí ara wọ̀ yá ìjà rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹbẹyẹbẹ. Inú tó ń kú tó ń dàrú gbòdògbòdò kò bára rẹ̀ èrí inú ẹ̀jẹ̀. Amọ̀nà ti dé o. Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí a fi ewé àti egbò ṣe ní ọ̀nà tìgbàlódé. NAFDAC Fòǹtẹ̀lù MA1 Nigeria Limited ni wọ́n gbé Veneto cleanser jáde. A wà ní nọ́mbà 17 Ọba Akínyẹlé off Adeogun Street, Aláàfin Avenue, Olúyọ̀lé Estate, Ring Road, Ìbàdàn. Telephone 08034051533 fún títà àti rírà. Ìwọ náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Veneton cleanser àmọ̀tẹ́kùn egbòogi tí ń ya gbogbo kòkòrò inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́.
bọ́nà kan ò ṣe wọjà nígbà aṣẹ́ kan ò ṣe tó jẹ mọ́ lásìkò tá a wà yìí láti wá tètè gúnlẹ̀ sébùtì ògo láfiníkà fọwọ́ wà fàjẹwà pẹ̀lú multilevel marketing cooperative investment credit society limited ẹgbẹ́ alájẹsẹ́kù tí bá ní ìpìlẹ̀ ọ̀la ká lè bá tètè roko délé ajé lójú ọjọ́ pẹ̀lú kátàkárà lórí àwọn kò ṣeé má ní ojoojúmọ́ bíi herbal food supplements àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ a jẹ́ pé gbogbo ẹni tó bá darapọ̀ mọ́ ẹgbẹ́ alájẹsẹ́kù multilevel marketing ni ó jàǹfààní ètò ẹ̀yáwó ọlọ́kan òjọ̀kan láti dáṣẹ́ tara wọn lẹ̀ bákan náà ni gbogbo ẹni tó bá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa pẹ̀lú owó wọn ni ó máa gba èrè gọbọi lóṣooṣù èyí kì í ṣe sogún dogójì o fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ kàn sí multilevel marketing cooperative investment credit society limited lónìí ní health concern building lẹ́bàá MRS filling station nítòsí Bishop Phillips Academy Iwo Road Ìbàdàn tàbí lọ́fíìsì wa tó wà ní Stanbic Bank building Niger West area Challenge Ìbàdàn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ 090504816 090504816 pẹ̀lú multilevel marketing cooperative investment credit society limited wàá roko délé ajé.
Ó dà ìyáàfin àwọn àmì wo la ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ gan-an ṣé ó máa ń pẹ́ lórí ẹ̀rọ ọ̀pẹ ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni dókítà.
Ó dẹ̀ tún máa ń pẹ́ lórí ayélujára.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ó máa ń pẹ́ gan-an ni dókítà.
Ó yé mi dátà rẹ̀ ò dẹ̀ kí n tán àbí.
Dókítà kókó ojú ọ̀rọ̀ náà ni pé tí kò bá sí lórí ìpè a máa wo eré tá a máa rẹ́rìn-ín débi pé ẹ máa gbọ́ ní máìlì 8.
Ìyáàfin ọkọ yín ti kó Glow bẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀ fever.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o ẹ̀yin náà kó Glow bẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀ fever tẹ́ bá forúkọ sílẹ̀ tẹ́ sì bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní lo síìmù Glow tuntun yín ẹ gbà àfikún $6 lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ yóò fẹ́ tó àfikún $100 kan lórí gbogbo ètò data yín kẹ́ ẹ lè wà lórí ayélujára kẹ́ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ kẹ́ ẹ sì dọ́wẹ́kẹ̀ dìgbà tó bá wù yí àwọn alábàáṣòwò wa tuntun àti tó ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀ yóò jẹ àfikún $7 ní gbogbo ìgbà tí wọ́n bá ra káàdì ẹ kàn sí Glow World tó bá súnmọ́ ẹ̀yin jù tàbáwọn alágbàtà wa láti ṣèforúkọsílẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ sì máa lo síìmù yín lọ.
Unlimited. Johnny, you say you don't get side chick. Abi, waiting you been talk safe.
Side chick fire. I say I don't get side hustle now. We go to fetch me small money. I don't sign up to become Stanbic IBTC at East Agent.
Stanbic IBTC at East Agent? You don't mean it.
My people, we mean amo. Stanbic IBTC don't dey right next to you. You too fit become Stanbic IBTC at East Agent for your shop. Just make sure say your business stand for ground gidigba and bam, you fit easily sign up at Stanbic IBTC Bank at East Agent Bidato. Visit www.stanbicibtcbank.com to see more tori on top the matter or visit any Stanbic IBTC branch within your area.
Stanbic IBTC, it can be.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
That was a long commercial break, but welcome back. We have just about 4 or 5 minutes to go on the program, and we can quickly use that to do some feedback. Let's keep our comments short and straight to the point. 0705 500949 and 0809 7000.
Good morning.
949. Good morning, comrade.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Let's have your contribution.
Yes, comrade Omololu. It is enough from Agbo. Tayo, I don't know those who are advocating, who are supporting the integrations of so-called repented terrorists, because the past record, the past integration does not give a good result. The battle against terrorism is rooted in ideology, and those ideology does not believe in national peace. They believe in destabilizing the elected government. If you know the battle against the ideology behind the terrorism is so bad that they does not listen, they does not reason with the state.
Thank you, comrade. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Yeah. My name is Adeshi Yamola from UI.
Yes, to your point.
On the issue of the proposed fuel price, the 410 is too small. Why did people make it like 500 naira? Or in the alternative, let them gather their soldiers in the country and be clean Nigeria one after the other. Instead, they are lucky to be doing all this or taking all these actions because Nigerian people, we are kind of people that we are so those that we don't know the right thing.
All right, Adeshui, Miris Belo, good morning, Tayo. Our people are selfish from up to everybody, make us to be and suffering. And we must be to love each other and oppress ourselves with this no way out for us. Right, I'm trying to get that, but of course, advocating for love, we should love ourselves more than ever before. Motolani Abiola, please, what is the population of civil servants in Nigeria? Are they more than non-civil servants? Nigerians don't trust Nigeria Labour Congress anymore. Why? Due to their selfish interest. Thank you. We go there too. Let's take this call here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I want to talk about the application of this Boko. I think people wouldn't have that from
Sorry, caller. The line isn't clear. You could return before we leave the studio. Abiodun Falaye, tell federal government to give us 50% discount on just increased number plates. At least all fingers are not equal. Okay, I'm sure the federal government can hear you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir.
You take cut off the other time. What I was saying is that if Nigeria is a country that will know the right thing, all these governors, and that is why we always be saying it's not about political party. These governors, they cut across the both political party, and nobody will oppose this thing. So the matter is that Nigerians, we are supposed to have been on the road now against all these governors every day.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Tayo.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name, please.
This is Agui. You're calling me from Akimani precisely.
Let's do it quickly. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on. Make your point quickly.
Okay. It is obvious that Nigeria governors are enemy of this program of this country. We are selling petrol at 162 per liter. We are still suffering. They are not saying they should increase it. Because of their own savings, it's not good now. The federal government need to do the needful.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to let you go because I need to leave the studio now. The governors should do the needful, according to my last caller there on the program. Thank you, dear listener. Let's keep up the conversation. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Join Timilade Aloko. By 7 for Baba Fendo, and at 8 o'clock to be time for The Podium with Hezekiah Akrede. My name is OLUTAYO, OGUNADE. Have a great Saturday and bye for now.
Here is the station admired by other radio stations.
Yes, we are.
32 FM 94.9.
Welcome to another edition of